Hey everybody, this is Eric from Sensory Dad, and today's video I wanted to address the must-haves that we take on pretty much every trip that we go on. We do 3 to 4 trips a year. This year so far was Alaska. We did a cruise to Aruba. We went to Utah to Zion National Park, and we're going to Disney here in about 2 weeks. So the things with our SPD son and even the other kids it helps out is the most challenging things are layovers or delays in the flights and getting stuck in the airport. Obviously, when we go through security, typically we're there a couple hours prior, even though it's reduced volume due to the pandemic. It's still a challenge for basically everybody to get through security. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this is something we always take. My wife made this. You can get the beads at any Michael's or one of those craft stores, Hobby Lobby, that kind of stuff. She made a weighted lap pad. Now, this I think is about 10% of my son's weight, but I can tell you it's a bear to go through security with. They're doing the special scan and the swabs to make sure that it's not a bomb or anything like that. Kind of a pain in the butt. So that delays us through security, and can take a couple extra minutes. So if you could, I don't know, maybe one person go ahead of the kids and everything like that, so that they have an easy transition. That's one strategy we've used before. Try to get a couple places in line. And then when the kids go through, it's a smooth transition. Try not to wait for all the scanning and everything. Inevitably, they pull one of our bags almost every time. There's 5 of us traveling. The next thing I want to tell you about is the sensory sock. I've had a bunch of questions about this on the blogs and everything that I'm on. This goes with us, and most of the time it's only used in a room. It's elastic, stretchy, so when my son climbs inside this thing, he could basically just stretch out if he's mad, and you know what I mean, just kind of go at it. Now, what this has really helped us with is if you've ever been on a cruise, they do something called a muster drill, and it's a mandatory drill. There's no way out of it. So we have to take him down on deck, and basically every passenger on the ship, every crew member is there, and they sound the big whistle or whatever it is, air horn, um, a couple times, and they do loud announcements. They have megaphones. They're shuffling people like cattle all the way around the ship, outer decks, and you're lined up, you know, toe to ankle, you know what I mean, or toe to heel, and it's just rough for him. So with all that noise and everything like that, believe it or not, we actually just take this out with us on every muster drill, and he'll climb into this thing and he'll actually just sit on the ground by us, and he's falling asleep during these muster drills. Now, obviously, this is not capable of blocking out any noise, so he'll be like that if we don't bring the headphones. Normally, we don't bring the headphones because they won't let you wear them. They don't want any earphones in. You can't be on the phone. You can't be talking. They have crew members that are going to make sure that you're listening, even if you're drowning it out. You're still going to listen. So you can't really cover your ears other than Anyway, this is a lifesaver for the boat, for the muster drill. It also works when we're at airports if we're stuck there for an extended period of time. I think we got stuck in Fort Lauderdale for 6 hours one time, just because our flights got reshuffled and it was wintertime coming back off a ship. It was a freaking nightmare. Next thing I want to show you is I've seen a lot of parents posted about these. These magnets are very lightweight, obviously. We've gotten a ton of sets of these. Some of them actually have the wheels. And then my SPD son actually built, and I used to sell houses, new construction. So he knows a little bit about architecture, and he's seen some of the houses that I've designed and built. But he built a Victorian house out of these. I wish I could find the picture. It's somewhere on my Facebook. But just crazy that these go together. There are smaller ones. And there's even ones that you can make windows out of. And little inserts that slip into them. These are not very expensive. I think we got them off of Amazon. And they don't really work with the smaller ones. So if you do try to get them, try to get the matching sets. Like I said, they're available on Amazon or Walmart. I think we got some of them. They're just a real good break point to where you keep them off the electronics. Sometimes when you're in the airports and you're looking for a charging station or something like that, um, it's tough to come by and everybody's packed in around the outlets. We do carry the battery packs that you can plug into your devices and that to get a quick charge. That works out really well. And what we do on the devices is we get our subscription to Disney Plus, Netflix, and then Amazon Prime. So those things typically will allow you to download a movie or two. So if you happen to be getting jammed up with no Wi-Fi or anything, in the airport or on the plane for that matter, you should be able to download some content, even if it's their favorite show. A lot of them will allow you to download the actual episodes that don't take up much hard drive space, or you can get one or two movies if you do have a big capacity tablet of some kind through your provider. That's a great way to go. Also, games. But the one thing I'll recommend about games is make sure you try the games before you get there, and they're capable of operating without internet or Wi-Fi. That's one big pain in the butt that we've ran into. That you get on there, and I think one's called Cool Math Games, and it's got like 500 different games on it, and a lot of them are strategy and stuff like that, to where the kids actually need to use their brain. But works really well. But when they require Wi-Fi, a lot of frustration comes in, and then we deal with a little meltdown. Now, here's one cool thing that my wife found, and we've actually gotten a lot of compliments and many people that have sat around us on flights. This does require you to kind of get around the back of the seat. So what this does, and this works really well when he was younger and needed that deep pressure feedback constantly, this is like a harness. So this makes it like a conventional child seat on your airline seat. And what you got to do is you got to reach behind and put the tray table back behind, and this wraps back around. And then it's got the harnesses almost like a race car or like a regular child seat that come up around the shoulders, and it keeps your child tight in that seat. Now, obviously, you can have a child in your lap, I think up to two. I can't even remember at this point. We've been out of that phase for quite some time. But it's a heavy duty latch. We've had this for, God, I would say probably 5 years now. So this has really been a godsend for us. The little one, if you don't have him latched in, and even if you have him latched in with the typical belt latch, he can be, on the ground, crawling underneath the seats. We've dealt with that before. He drops some, he just unlatches. So the times we didn't take this, absolute nightmare. Now, one thing that we ordered recently too, if you travel with your kids, you're going to run into a lot of issues with taxi cabs. So it depends on the state, but I can tell you that Florida's a stinking nightmare. If you're not on the big motor coaches to get from Orlando to Disney or wherever you're going, to the cruise ship, stuff like that, you can't go in a regular taxi cab if you do not have a child seat or a booster seat. Now, most states, I think it's maybe 30 pounds, something like that for Florida. We had to have the booster seats. So the last trip to Utah we took a giant stinking duffel bag that I had from back in the day when I used to carry sparring gear in it. And that bag we squeezed 3 booster seats into, and they're like a composite or a plastic material with a little fabric wrap over it, and just lifts your kid up about this much. Now, the great thing we found, of course, when we got back from Utah, was that they actually now offer them in inflatable models. I believe we ordered some, but I couldn't find them. We're probably going to use them for Disney. Either that or they're on the way. I'm not sure. My wife got them off of Amazon, I believe. But that's going to be amazing to have that capability. Even if we don't use them, we can take normal taxis rather than having to wait for the giant bus, like the ones with you could stand up in, not like the little minivan ones. But whenever you're in those, you're kind of exempt from having, the typical harnesses and that. A seatbelt is fine for your child. Kind of like the shuttles you see at Disney whenever you're going around there, the smaller shuttles. And the last thing I wanted to show you guys, let me grab it here. I know we limit screen time. Screen time is always a bear. If we exceed too much screen time, it doesn't matter if it's a weekend or what. I don't know if it's the eye strain. I don't know if it's just the zombie-like effect it has on all three of the kids, not just our SPD. This is one of the best investments we have ever made. It's called the Osmo. And what it does is, it works with any tablet. We've only used iPads on it. I'm pretty sure it works with other tablets as well. I've seen it on other platforms. So you have your base here, and you put your iPad in here. And then it's got this little apparatus here that has a camera system. Can ricochet off of there, kind of like a periscope. But long story short, the interactive games for this are mostly learning games. I think we have a Hot Wheels game that allows you to race little Hot Wheels cars and stuff like that. But it teaches you kind of strategy. It's kind of like a soapbox derby kind of thing for the kids. But not a lot of money. I mean, it's more of a big Christmas gift or the one big birthday gift if you're going to do it. I know I don't like to dump a pile of money on gifts. I'd rather do experiences with the kids. So some of them come with drawing as well. So you get dry erase markers on here, and obviously my kids don't clean it, so there you go. You got crap all over. So dry erase markers, they'll ask you to make shapes, and I think the one monster on there is like, hey, can you draw, I don't know, a strawberry or any kind of inanimate object, and they'll have you draw that, and it works really well for the kids to learn and get that hand-eye coordination and get that ability to actually grip the pen. There are coding games, which if you look into coding, the majority of intelligent people and college graduates, if you start any child into coding at an early age, it really teaches a lot, and they've seen correlations with intelligence and moving up through careers with people who coded I think Elon Musk coded at like age 9 or 10. He started. We started all three kids on coding, and I think it's called Coding with Obby. It's pretty simplistic. So the game basically just has a little character, and you can use tiles, and it's got like 7 or 8 different tiles to where you create a chain of action. So your person needs to walk, and maybe they need to leap over a river and then a bush and gather fruit from the bush and stuff like that. But the step-by-step that allows you to code on this is pretty cool. It actually, the kids learn a lot from the different interactions on that game. Other than that, guys, food, water, snacks, definitely, a must-have. So what we do for packing is, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go through it real quick. In our carry-ons, always, at least, an extra pair or two of underwear, socks. You never know if your feet are going to get sweaty. That can be a trigger for our son. Obviously, underwear if an accident happens, and I'm just saying spilling, water whenever you hit turbulence. You always got to think ahead for just the little things that we have dealt with meltdowns. God forbid they get sick and throw up. You need a change of clothes, and we pack, some Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer and the baby wipes. Even though we don't have a baby, we still carry the baby wipes because they just tend to clean a little bit better. That all goes in the one carry-on. We have one carry-on for electronics. We have one carry-on for extra clothes, toothbrushes, that kind of stuff. And then we have one carry-on for the electronics. Now just remember, when you're going through airport security, you could throw all the iPads and phones in one joint, in a little tub. But whenever if you do carry a laptop with you, that's always got to be separate. So we typically will get 5 of the little tubs. Kids don't need to take their shoes off, adults do. So it's at least easier to get them through. And typically, you'll see your TSAs. In the good airports, I could tell you, they'll take pity on you. They'll really, they know what you're going through. They see, young families coming through there with kids. Typically, they'll pull, hey guys, right here, come on up here. And instead of going through, the scanner thing like cattle and waiting in a long line and dealing with that, they'll shuffle the family, especially if you have a stroller. We no longer do strollers. We have like a little pack that we can attach, my youngest son to, even though he's 5 and built like a truck. Um, if he still is in a nap mode when we go on long hikes and stuff like that. So, like I said, guys, if you're gonna travel, we do it a lot. We can give you tons of tips. If you have any questions on travel, certainly email me or send us a message. I really appreciate all the subscribers. I think we're up to 60 now, which is great. Tons of people watching the videos, so like and subscribe all you can. And if you have any questions or need to contact us, please feel free to do so. I really appreciate your help. Thanks.